biz gönderelim yapanlar, it's not.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
Oh, I see something from Vietnam.
Yes, we have Taiwanese educators. We have Vietnamese educator, at least one of them. And let's see, Armenia, Russia, Nigeria, and I think, sorry if I don't read correctly your name, Nirmala Devi. I think she...
Yeah, Nirmala. Correct.
Shortly. What country are you from?
Malaysia.
Oh, great. Malaysia.
Cool. I love it. See,
Thanks.
this day, this session is really the a great example of everything that I'm talking about. Here's a tool that we're able to use to talk to each other in ways that, you know, we've never been able to do that before until, you know, the last decade or decade and a half. So, oh, look at their two Lucines. Wow, how nice. And other names written in Russian that I sadly
most of the educators came back. That's great.
Cool. I hope I'm not boring anybody or talking about stuff that you already know about. And if I am, well, just call it a review session. So shall I go back? Why not? Let me
please
share my screen. Oh, I am disabled again. Could you enable me for screen sharing?
Okay, give me a couple of seconds.
I will.
Check it out, please.
Let's see, share screen. There we are. And here we are.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Great.
All right. So I'd left off before the computer was so rudely interrupted us. Computers have no sense of human beings, that's for sure. Well, we're doing global communication, and you can call this global cultural visits, such as I was telling you about MayaQuest and what a wonderful tool that was. But I always thought with the tools that we've got, why not do active visits in different people's museums or cultural centers? You can walk around with either a GoPro mini camera or a phone and a selfie stick and walk around and like visit a museum. We could all visit the Louvre. It will not take the place of actually seeing a painting or an artwork in real life, because the process of looking at the painting is a reflective process, and this is transmissive. And it actually has a lot to do with how the colors look on an actual painting or how the shape might actually be. But it's still a great way to be introduced to things you wouldn't know about, cultural artifacts. And, you know, I'm a museumaholic. I've done a lot of work with museums or in museums or for museums, everything, building online exhibitions to just wandering around lost and enjoying the work that I see and the art and the creative process. So we can do these things from the bottom up. We don't need to wait for the directors to tell us what to do. If you have a set curriculum, there's always a way to introduce arts and the creative process into your curriculum. Even if you know, if you're teaching about another country, usually there's a very brief section on maybe some of their artwork. You know, here's an example of, but there's always much more than that. I had mentioned that I had a teacher who taught in Nigeria. I've always had an interest in African art. For one thing, I love Cubism, and a lot of Cubism was influenced by the influx of African art at the time that Cubism was being invented in France. So why not go and explore what's being done in another country? You know, I have a friend actually somebody from graduate school, where she and her husband and when her boy reached, I guess 11 or 12, they went to a visit in Armenia. And every day she posted pictures on Facebook. And I'd never seen what a beautiful country it is, because she was there going to the places that Armenians and tourists go to. You know, tops of mountains where there was a monastery or a church, and looking out, you know, the age of the church with the age of the planet was spectacular. You know, what a great way of doing it. And it was done informally. You know, you can go tour your countryside with a camera, with a phone, and send images to a class across the world. And you see organizations like you're to students all over the world.
Nisha. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. My son used to live here and he would make noise. Now I just have cats that usually walk across the screen. But as you see, I'm very excited and passionate about it. You know, the world is really in a tough place now, but the tools exist and the mentality exists, and we just have to play with it and reach out for it. At the end of this, after this is over, I'll create a book list. I didn't get a chance to put them all together, of some of my influencers. Some of them are directly involved with education, others not. But how we can use this stuff for really reaching out to everybody. You know, what was the Khan's Academy? You know, here was a man in India creating videos for his nephew that exploded into a video archive of teaching just about everything that anybody could use. What a great idea. You know, simple, but the technology allows us to do things like that now. You know, if we want to learn about a culture, why not learn directly from the culture? You know, so come on.
No.
I'm stuck here for a second.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Benefits. Oh, by the way, all the pictures, most of the images are my own images.
Is it you?
That's me. And for those of you who have heard of Comic-Con, the great convention for people that like comic books, which is always more than about comic books, this is on display, and we were able to crawl up on it. So yeah, that's me in my living out my Terminator fantasy. The benefits of all this are the collaborative learning that is developed, and with the collaborative learning, the understandings and friendships that develop. You know, innovation, when you're thinking about this, you're thinking, here's a box. I received, you know, a box of, that has, used to be a box, now I just download it, but of a technology. What else can I do with it? You know, like I mentioned before, a pencil is just a pencil, but you can do all these wonderful things with the pencil. I used to be a carpenter and build houses, and I had a hammer. A hammer you can use to hammer a nail. You can use it to pull a nail. You can use it as a fulcrum or a lever. You can use it to break something. You know, if you have to break something because you hammered something in the wrong place. But a hammer, you can use it as a ruler if you don't have a ruler. I had a hammer where I put little marks on it. So when I was having to go do a lot of work and have to be really very concerned about the distance between nails, I just put a mark on a hammer. I can hammer, put the hammer down, I'd see where the mark. So you can do all kinds of things. It's the same with computer. How do we think about the computer? Again, are we just using it to administer a class? Are we using it just to, like a content management system, to provide the content, to get the grades? Or are we using it as a creative tool, as a blackboard, as a whiteboard, as a camera, as a microphone? Because it's all of those things, and what do we do with them? One of my first interactive projects I did in the early 90s, like 90, 91, and it was a piece on what I call different cultures within the Jewish community. My background, my grandparents came from Belarus. I know Jews that came from Italy, Morocco, from France. There's a Jewish community in Uganda now. They discovered their roots that were actually Jewish and were finally recognized. I knew Jews from Australia, Argentina, Brazil, and each community has their own cultural components. There's a general community, but how songs are sung. You know, the songs of the Jews in Iraq are very different from the songs that the Jews in Russia sing. They're the same words, but different melodies. So I made a little interactive disc for it. Well, and I went to a computer conference for Jewish educators, and there was one other person talking about computers, but he was talking about classroom administration. Well, that's great. It is a perfect tool for that, but it's also a perfect tool for ripping open the box of the application and doing something creative and more student-centered than as opposed to school administrator-centered. And that's what I'm advocating. By you doing these, the work that you're doing in KidLink, you're doing that kind of work. We need to expand it. How do we use these tools and make it really student-centered? You know, we're teaching towards the future. You know, for the generation growing up, you know, there's more to life than YouTube and Snapchat and Twitter. There are these things that you can make with it. We need to introduce them to the concept. Some are only doing games, but there's a lot more than games. When I did my graduate work, we went to the Media Lab at MIT and saw things that are people that are doing there with whatever they've got around. Some of the stuff is high tech, but a lot of it, there was people who created robots using the one laptop per child, these little tiny personal computers that have a small LAN, and at night they have their screen becomes dark, so the letters and the things that are displayed are easy to see. And during the daytime it switches. It's a very basic computer, but it's a computer. It's not a pad. And they created robots that interact with each other by programming. I mean, of course, within technology, there's always programming. I'm actually I use an iPhone, but today I'm buying a Android device because of an application, an interactive application designed by a guy who created a program that totally turned me on to interactivity in the 90s, is now doing this really cool program for phones. And I was invited to be one of the testers. But you can program on this device. I programmed once, and earlier tried the Android. I programmed a little Space Invader games on my phone. It was really easy. I don't remember how I did it. It's not my language, but I know it's possible to learn. You know, for those of you that know about Scratch, is an application for teaching children programming that's based in some ways upon Lego. You have a screen, your screen is divided in two. One side is you might say your dance floor. The other side has a list of blocks, and when you combine the blocks, they create and then control little things on your dance floor. So you can make a little robot, make it turn around, walk against the side, hit the side, the digital side, bounce back. You can program it to do things. It's free, and it's in just about every language you can think about. Scratch. It's at the MIT Media Lab. How, you know, it's a way of teaching people to think and use all the tools that are around them. And all of this helps to break barriers. The fact that we're having this talk now, I recently spoke with to a class in Southwest Siberia with, I'm forgetting her name, who's in Southwest Siberia. One of our colleagues.
Southern Siberia?
Yeah. Who's the teacher in Siberia? Not Tatiana.
Larissa?
Yeah, Larissa. Oh, it's a blast. I've been doing these things for a few years now, but I spoke to her students about the communities and cultures in the state of California. But I know that for many of these kids, if not all of them, I'm the first American they ever spoke with, asked questions to, and communicated with. And, you know, I can't say they were the first Siberians because I've done this to a few of our other classes. But what a great experience. You know, I'm no longer a mystery to them. I'm a weird guy, but, you know, I'm a weird guy in any culture. You know, I'm the guy that if I'm at I was at a celebration once from the people from Kurdistan, and they were playing an instrument, and a couple people, folk music, and a couple people jumped on the stage and started to dance. So me being very bashful, I jumped on the stage and starting to dance too, because I'd done folk dancing and it wasn't that hard. But one of the mayor of the town I was at looked at me, gave me a compliment. He said, "I've got Kurdish feet." You know, we can do this online. We can put music online and teach dance. You can't teach partner dance, but you can teach folk dances. You can teach, you know, I recently saw a video of African-American ballet dancers where each person was in their home studio and would do a movement, and they would get a dancing shoe that would suddenly drop onto them. You know, somebody was helping them, and they do a couple moves, toss the shoe out, and it would come somewhere else in another part of the country. You know, I've long thought about it, a global dance performance where you're handing something from people, from one person to the next. So it happens all around the world in real time, and you can turn on at any point and watch these dances as we share stuff. I spoke about that before the technology was available. To make it easy, it was always difficult, but it's easy to do now. We just need to reach out. Important point number
Really,
4.
the most exciting thing about technologies is collaboration.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
My first collaborative project was I was working at a Jewish museum, Jewish cultural museum in Los Angeles. During World War, I did a virtual exhibition where I worked with a man at the Japanese American National Museum, because during World War II, the Japanese in California were sent to really concentration camps, not killing camps, but concentration camps. And a lot of them lost their homes, their stores because of hate and racism. Well, my grandfather would escape from the Cossacks in Russia, who were not very friendly to the Jews, understood what that's like. So he had customers who got sent to a camp, and they had a store that sold plants and flowers, a nursery. So he took it over for them for the duration of the war. And when they came back, he gave them their money, gave them the keys, and the family's been friends ever since. And there are examples that all over. I wanted to turn this into a big project. I did this in, I think it was 1990. No, 1999, 88 or 99, an early exhibition.
David, and sorry, you told about your working in museums and virtual field trips, right?
Yeah.
Were they live virtual trips or recorded ones, or how did you
I think
come?
the real ones, live, it's good to record, but the live you get the immediate response, immediate questions. When if I'm in a museum looking at a Picasso, think of a big Picasso, Guernica, huge painting, and I'm looking at one corner, and a student sees something and wants to ask, they can do it right then and right there. It's recorded for future, but it's, again, what we're trying to do is use this digital technology and emulate the face-to-face experience, and that's one of the strengths of this. You know, the recording is fine, but it's no longer a mail-in school. It's something we can do in real time. How could we do this session right now as a recorded session? And I could record it. You know, I'm speaking way too fast now, but, you know, I was trying to fit everything into 40 minutes, and I'm sorry I didn't, but, you know, we get carried away. People ask questions, and we can do that now. And then you save it for other people to demonstrate, you know, what this is all about. You know, when I'm at work now, I'm always recording my sessions, not only with students, but also when I get taught something, because it's often easy for me at this point, easier to see it and record it than to just take notes. Notes for me are for lectures in history or literature, but this you got to see where to press and where to look at. So again, don't be limited by the lack of newest, biggest, or most powerful technology. Use whatever you've got. You know, I've thought about teaching how to make graphic novels and getting kids to collaborate with each other from around the world. But if someone reads them, but they don't have the technology available, they don't have computers, but have mobile phones, and they want to draw, you can draw it on a board, you can draw it on paper, take a picture of it, and then create a digital comic. And it's been done before. So,
yeah, I totally agree with you that incorporating technologies doesn't mean being, I don't know, super promoted or using super, I don't know, super promoted gadgets or apps or tools, but you can, anyway, you can do if you want. If you have a wish, you can connect your students globally and incorporate technologies in your lessons and extracurriculum activities.
there it is. That's it. And we all have at least, the bottom line is some kind of mobile technology, mobile phone, a smartphone. Some people are using there are all kinds of phones, and just about every phone does have a camera. And just about every phone now has some kind of, even old phones have web access. You might not have the web, but you have mobile phone, and you can call and talk to people and send messages back and forth. You know, be creative in your thinking. Don't be limited, like Lucy said, by what the box says, what the program is designed at. I mean, you're limited with Microsoft Word, but what you do with it, you know, it's all going to be writing, but you can push the limits by how you import and what you do with it. You don't need to know how to use Photoshop, because there are plenty of photo applications online and free that you can use. For doing comics, there are online programs like Comic Life, where you can create your own comic online and then distribute it. So if you wanted to do a comic about a training, like, you know, how to decide if a banana is healthy or not, you know, and you do it through a comic book, because then you're reaching people that may not speak your language, but they can understand the images. And you could do everything online. You could tell the story of a wedding. You could do anything. You know, use your and your students' imagination. I did a project, an internship when I was in graduate school. I did an internship at the Los Angeles County Art Museum, where I met with a group of high school students and asked them to think of what I call, and others call, a blue sky project. If you can design anything for the museum, anything, sky's the limit. And what the students decided to try to create would be a sound system. So when they visit each gallery has a way of listening to music, either for the whole gallery, for the painting. So you can look at a painting that was done in Paris in the 19-teens when Picasso and Braque were painting. And you can listen to the French jazz that was being played at the time that influenced them. If you're looking at traditional mask from the Yoruba tribe in Nigeria, you can listen to the drumming, the music, the singing that helped create that mask, that was involved in the mask. If you're, you know, I have a recording of church music, Armenian church music, for the morning service that I bought in the Armenian church in Jerusalem. It's on a tape. I need to get it converted to a digital format. But if I wanted to create a piece about Armenian history, I can put in this real music. This is what the students wanted. And you know, or what they think about. You know, there's one woman, a young woman, who said she looks at paintings from the medieval period and thinks of heavy metal. So she wanted to put on heavy metal. Well, maybe that people walk around with headphones like they used to do in the audio tours by antenna audio. You know, you're listening to music if you so desire. So, and how do we get to these ideas where we use up our imagination and the students' imagination and being creative as we collaborate with each other, with our fellow teachers, with our students, and with teachers and students from all over the world, you know, and here are the tools we can use. Remember this device right here on the top left, an old flip phone. We have all the tools available, and we just need to continue to use it and really think out of the box more. Questions?
Well, David, can you now stop demonstrating your screen, please? If this is the end of the presentation or not?
It is.
Is it the end of your presentation?
Yes, that's
okay.
right.
Now, can you please stop demonstrating your screen? Again, click on the green button at the bottom of your screen.
Oh, thank you. Oh, wait. I will send this to Lucine, and you can hopefully, or send me everybody's email address. This is my contact information. If you have questions.
Thank you. I will share later in the groups too, if you don't mind.
Please. And thank you all. And now I have
Thank you so much, David, for presenting us such a relevant topic and in details presentation about how to incorporate in technologies in education. I actually have a few questions about your work in museums and about STEM, incorporating STEM projects, but I would like now to let our educators ask you questions.
Any question from anybody, I'm prepared to answer nearly any question.
David, did you stop demonstrating screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me, maybe I can do instead of you. Just a minute. Yes, great. Now it's okay.
Okay. You see my screen. I think
yeah, sorry, I see that Stellan has a question. Stellan, you are very welcome.
Hi, Stellan.
Stellan, we can't hear you. Are you using headphones? Because sometimes
now he's muted.
Your microphone is muted now. Please unmute it. No, we can't hear you.
You can type it.
Yes, you can type it. I actually think that Stellan typed the question. Can you look? Take a look at the chat box.
Oh, code, I missed it. I got a call from
David,
well,
we have, sorry. We have 10 minutes, 10 our second session ends. Yeah, sorry for interrupting you.
For Stellan, I do a lot of coding when I teach. I'm much more interested in the applications. I did a little PHP years ago. I don't really like it. You know, I'd rather hire or work with someone who really likes to code. I get it, Stellan. I get it. You know, like the constructivists want to teach everybody to code. And I'm totally a constructivist, except not for coding. That's where I become a collaborator. I'll come up with ideas. I come up with graphic designs because my background is visual. But when it comes, you know, and I do HTML, and I've done CSS, I've done, when I worked on a silicon graphics machine, I did something else. So I can deal with it, but it's not natural for me. My natural is a visual. So I'll work with the programmer. And Papert, Seymour Papert talked about it in the children's machine, where we put a computer into a school in some high school in the East Coast, and just drop the computer in a class to see how people worked with it. And he saw artists working with programmers. Each of them has their specialty, but collaborating, they were able to create a game to create a game where the visual person created the design and the look and feel, while the person behind was able to write the code for it. And you're right, PHP could be easy to use if you have the right teacher. There's a guy in Los Angeles, a Mexican American, who runs a program for teaching Mexican American kids in school how to code. And he's gotten money and support from the Media Lab, from Google, from YouTube, from all these different sources, and from Microsoft. And he has an office now at USC, University of Southern California, to teach people from an outside community how to code, a community that's underserved, how to code. There was a program based in Case Western where the head of the technology, the first thing he did was he pushed for a program that cabled up the whole city with high-speed cable. And then he distributed, Case Western is a great school surrounded by low-income area. So he sent out computers or gave computers to all of the neighbors. And the last stage was he had classes for them where they could go to and how to use a computer. Many times computers are given, but they're not told. People that get them do not know how to use them. So you've got to teach them, you've got to show them, you've got to introduce them to ways of thinking that you don't have to be a programmer and have a pencil, a pocket protector with a zillion pencils and pens in your pocket to work in computers. There are different things you can do with it, just like a hammer, just like, you know, whatever tool you've got. So I'm totally into teaching people that about coding. But for those that don't get coding, there are other ways that can work with the technology. And we need to create that kind of collaborative environment where both people work with each other. And there's some that can do it all. I worked at a high-end animation and special effects studio, and the head of it was like, some of the producers were amazing. They could paint. You know, I saw their canvases and they were beautiful, technically and superb in any way. And then they were developing motion with, you know, pushing numbers around in programs and code. They were brilliant, but not everybody thinks that way. But that doesn't mean that you cannot be part of it, because even that person needed a whole team of people to fill in the different specialties that go into special effects. Is that a good answer, Stone? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Thank you. Thank you.
David, we can hear you for hours, and you can speak for hours, and so you see in an interesting way. So, guys, do you have any other questions? Because we have just a couple of minutes.
Wow.
Gloria, what about you?
I don't have any question. No question.
No questions.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Is Uche Linda Opala also from Africa, Nigeria?
Oh, Uche. Hi.
Nigeria.
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 Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm from Nigeria. I'm so sorry. I've seen my sis over there. I'm super excited. This is my month, so I'm so super excited to be with you guys today. I'm so sorry. I'm just joining now. I have a lot of things that I'm working out. I'm so sorry. Maybe I don't even know where to start. Maybe I don't know. You have started since. I'm so sorry for joining because I have a lot of stuff that I'm working on. Okay. Nice to meet you all. Okay.
it's nice to meet you. Well, look at you'll get my address, and you can watch the recording. Hopefully, you can send out the video of the recording so people can, you know, catch up on it. See, this is a mask of mine, but I think it's Ivory Coast. I don't think Nigerian, but
I love that.
Oh well, if I'm speaking a mask,
Virtual field trip around the house.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah. Wow. I really miss.
Can you see this one? That one I actually danced it a long time ago. I studied West African dance.
Could you
Oh,
please,
David,
could you please raise it up a bit? I would like to take a shot of that mask, okay?
I'll
Oh my
send-
God, I'm
Send me your
so-
email. I'll take a nice picture.
Please, could you raise it up a bit? The mask. Yeah.
I'll send you the
Okay,
picture.
all right. This awesome. I'm super excited for seeing
David
those
is the
masks.
citizen
Wow,
of the world.
I just love, we have a great planet, great music, great foods, great literature. I know I've read books. There's a famous Nigerian author. I read a short book of stories of Egyptian women writers. Beautiful stuff. People,
Wow.
that's what interests me. Engineering is kind of like the square, you put things together. But I like the things that in between, the space in between where people live and do stuff. And I've just been given the 1 minute. No, it says I have 2 minutes.
Yes. I mean, I'm afraid that we can be interrupted again. That is why I would like to thank you, to say a big thank you for joining us today, and to be so impressive. Your talk was so interesting, and we would like to have you as a guest speaker again if you can join us.
I'm always open. Absolutely.
Thank you so much to all the educators who joined us from different parts of the world. I hope you enjoyed our today's meeting, and see you next time. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
What a real pleasure. What a real pleasure. I'm taking a picture of everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Oh,
Give us a smile.
I see my mask.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm super excited for seeing that mask, man. Oh gosh, that's awesome. Thank you so much, David,
A pleasure.
for showing those masks to the world. I really appreciate that. Thank
And
you so much.
send me,
Bye-bye.
you'll get my email address. Send me your email address and I'll send you a picture of my mask.
All right. I'll do that, sir. I will do that, definitely. Listen, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you for so
Okay,
much.
nice to
You
meet
are
you
very
all.
welcome. Always welcome. Okay, now
Thank
I
you,
think we
Luzin.
have maybe a small amount of time. Now you can talk whatever you want because we already said bye-bye to each other.
I'm just speaking so fast.
Okay. Thank you, Luzin.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. David. It was a
so
great
much.
session.
Thank you, Nirmala, for joining
Bye.
us.
For all
Bye.
the
Yeah,
work.
sure. Thanks a lot. Bye,
Cheers,
Dr.
rock.
David. Thank you.
Okay, maybe some other time.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
And I can talk to your
Bye-bye.
classes also. Bye.
Bye.
Ify.